This was my first time deer hunting by myself. It was only my second time deer hunting. It did not go as I expected it to go. I had a spot on the ridge. It's actually the spot my brother likes to hunt in, but I asked him if it was okay if I used it. I was feeling good about that spot. I'd been out hunting with River in the morning, and we hunted from a blind, and my body is not meant to sit all day and hunt. I don't know how River does it. Anyway, I hunted for a few hours in the morning, and then I was like, I can't stay here anymore. We didn't see anything, which can happen when you're hunting. Some days the deer just don't come by where you are, and it is what it is. We had the blind in a good spot because it's by a ton of deer trails, so we were pretty sure that it was an active area. Lots of fresh poop, that sort of thing. I left probably around like 9 o'clock, came back home, ate, did a bunch of other stuff, and then I went back out around 3 or a little after 3 and went back out to this ridge where my brother likes to hunt. And not too long after I was there, maybe like half hour to 45 minutes after I got there, this beautiful buck came out. Big body. I think he was like a 6-pointer. I'd been hearing noises that sounded like something walking on leaves. So we have special ear protection where it will protect you from the certain like decibel levels. So it will protect your ears from the sound of a rifle, but it allows you to hear other sounds around you. So like if River and I are hunting together, we can whisper to each other, we can hear through the ear protection. And I could hear a deer approaching, but I couldn't tell where it was coming from because I could hear when they walk, it's like they're walking on the leaves. It's very quiet. If I had not had these particular ear protection on, I would not have been able to hear this deer approaching from the distance that I did. And it sounds like they're walking, and then they usually stop. And you can hear it's just a very slight crunch of the leaves as he walked forward. And so I heard him approaching from a ways away. And I had both a doe and a buck tag, so it didn't matter which animal I shot. So he comes out and I see it, I'm like, whoa, that is a nice looking buck. Oh, he looks so good. And he moved forward and I went to lift my gun, and there's a zipper on my hunting vest. And part of my gun like scraped on the zipper as I was holding it up. And so he looked. I just held as still as possible because he knew something was up. And I waited. He moved. It took him a few seconds, and then he moved forward, and his head was behind a tree. And so I got in position, and I had a good opportunity between trees to shoot. He was maybe about 40 yards away, pretty close, honestly. And I shot, and he jumped, and I thought I hit him, and he jumped, and he like turned around and walked back the way he had come. And then he came back again, and I was looking through my scope, and I did not see a bullet hole or anything. And I shot again. I had my crosshairs right on him. It was a good shot, right, behind the front leg, right in the middle of the body. That's where I was aiming. And shot again, and this time he turned around and he ran. River texted me, he's like, was that you? I was like, yep. He waited a few minutes in case the buck was still like, sometimes after you shoot them, it takes them a little while to die. So you like to give them a little bit of time before you start going down and looking for them. So he waited a few minutes and then he came for them. So we went over there. There was no blood on the ground. I was like, dang it. No deer. And I was like, oh my gosh, how is that possible? It was like, I have shot a deer before and not had a blood trail. I was like, oh, this is like my worst nightmare. This has been one of the things that has kept me from hunting, is that I've been afraid I will wound an animal and not be able to find it. It's been like my number one concern as a hunter, is that I will hurt an animal and not actually just kill it. Because almost every hunter I know, this is like number one priority. Do not want to hurt an animal and not be able to find it. You don't want the meat to be wasted. You want to have a nice clean harvest. So I was like, oh crap. If there's no blood trail, but River's like, well, I've shot deer before and not had a blood trail. Then did I like wound him and he's like out there somewhere suffering? I was like, this is horrible. Of course it was at the end of the day, so it's starting to get dusky. So we're out there with our headlamps on, looking, can't find them. It gets dark, and I called my brother because he has a dog, and I was like, hey, do you think you could bring the dog over and see what you can do? Because I shot a deer and we can't find it. And he said, sure. Because Lucy's pretty good at finding deer. He has shot deer before, and Lucy's found them. So they came over, and meantime we brought our guns and bags and all that stuff back to the house and got the kids, and they came out with us. So now there was 7 of us out looking for this deer. No luck. I went from feeling like elated that I had gotten a buck and was gonna put some meat in the freezer for the first time. Like, this was like a huge big deal for me to put a deer in the freezer, to complete devastation, thinking that I had wounded this animal and that he's out there suffering. And I was like, well, maybe I didn't hit it. There's no blood, there's no hair, like nothing. Maybe I just didn't hit it. But like, what are the chances of me shooting at it twice and missing? So then we're like, well, maybe the scope is off on my gun and maybe I did miss. So we stayed out for, I shot the deer around like 4 o'clock, 3:45, between 3:45 and 4. And we were out until like 7:30 looking for this deer. No luck. My worst nightmare as a hunter. I just felt really sad, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this anymore. Like, that was, it was very emotional for me to think that I had, hurt but not killed an animal. The next morning, River went out and hunted. I was like, I don't want to hunt, but we decided to wait till it was light. So River would go hunt in the morning, and then we'd wait till it was light out, and then we'd go and look for the deer, because there's some marshy areas around where we are, and maybe the deer, they tend to go to water, I guess. So we went and explored all the marshy areas. Didn't see them, because there's lots of like scrub around where we are. And so we thought, well, he could be like hidden in some scrub. So we were like searching. We had done kind of like a grid search the night before, and now we were doing like a grid search, but just the 2 of us. Still no luck. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's like, I don't think he hit it. Like, if you hit it with a 308, there should have been blood or something. And she said that her husband had shot a deer once, or shot at a deer, and because it was so close with the scope, he'd actually missed the deer because with the scope, the perception was off. And I was like, well, I wonder if that's what happened. Plus my adrenaline was like pumping. But I wonder if like he jumped because I like shot under him, or if the shot maybe went into a tree. I actually have to go back and look and just see, because she said his bullet went into a tree nearby. So maybe I should check that. But maybe that's why he jumped. Maybe the bullet was close but didn't actually hit him, and that's why there was no blood trail, because I did not actually shoot this deer. Anyway, that was my first experience solo deer hunting. It did not go as planned. I was very disappointed and really upset the night before. And like, there is this beautiful buck out there that I hope is fine, that I hope I did not hit at this point. I really hope I did not hit this deer. Because I would hate for any animal to suffer. All of the hunters that I know are very careful and want to make a nice clean shot and don't want the animal to suffer. It's kind of, among moral hunters, this is like the code. If you're not a moral hunter, well then, maybe you shouldn't be hunting. Probably not very moral about a lot of other things either. So yeah, that was my first experience solo deer hunting. Did not go as planned. Very disappointing. But I went back out last night and I tried again, but did not see any deer. Today is the last day of hunting season. I did not go hunting this morning. Maybe I'll hunt tonight. I don't know. But I did it. I was terrified. I was so scared to do that, to take a shot at an animal like that. And I did it. And now I think that I can do it again. But today is really cold. And I think above all else, I am a fair weather hunter. I don't like to freeze or be super uncomfortable. Hunting is not comfortable. Let's just put that right out there. Hunting is not a comfortable sport. You're either sitting all day, basically, and you might not be in the most comfortable position, or you're standing, or it's windy and it's cold, or there's so many ways that hunting is not like really comfortable for people. And I am willing to be a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm not willing to freeze. And last night when I was hunting, I got cold, my hands got cold. And I was like, I have to go. I left 10 minutes before the end of shooting time. Maybe that was crazy, but I was cold and I was like, I've got to go. But I got back out there again by myself, and yes, River was hunting nearby, and we were in contact with our phones. I texted him I was coming out. He knew where I was going to be hunting, all these things. But still, I was out there by myself, and I was pretty proud of myself for taking that step, for being uncomfortable and being scared and doing it anyway. Because, that's my motto. Do it scared, right? So anyway, for any of you who are thinking about hunting or new to hunting, I'm just going to say, go for it. I am almost 50 years old. This is my first time solo hunting. I only started hunting a couple years ago, and so far all I've successfully hunted is grouse. But still, gotta start somewhere, right? I'll definitely be deer hunting again next season, if not tonight. I don't know, not sure. But I hope you had a successful deer hunting season and that your season ended differently than mine, with some meat in the freezer and a really clean shot. Check out this other video about processing River's first deer of the season, and we'll see you soon.